Can you feel the weight? That silent weight that lives in your shoulders, in your back, in the center of your chest. It's as if you're carrying an invisible suitcase wherever you go, filled with unspoken words, with stored hurts, with old versions of yourself that no longer exist, but that you insist on keeping alive through memory. This morning is different. Something has shifted in the air around you. Perhaps you woke up with that feeling that you can no longer continue as you were. Perhaps you looked in the mirror and saw in your own eyes a silent request, "Set me free." Or perhaps you're simply tired of repeating the same thoughts, of feeling the same heavy emotions, of living as if the past were a cloak that can never be removed. I want you to know something important, my dear. You were not born to carry. You were born to fly. And forgiveness, true forgiveness, deep forgiveness, the kind that changes everything, is the key that opens the door of your prison. Not a prison of walls and bars, but a prison made of old thoughts, of judgments you made about yourself, of stories you told so many times that they became more real than the truth. Pause for a moment. Breathe deeply. Feel the air entering your lungs, traveling through your body, bringing new life to every cell. And as you breathe, repeat with me, aloud or in the silence of your heart, "I choose to free myself now. I forgive the past and open space for the new." Feel these words. Don't just speak them. Let them resonate within you like a gentle bell announcing the dawn. There is a truth about forgiveness that few people understand. Forgiving is not a favor you do for others. Forgiving is the greatest gift you can give yourself. It is the most profound gesture of self-love that exists. When you forgive, you are not saying that what happened was right. You are not erasing the pain or pretending that the wounds never existed. You are simply saying, "I will no longer allow this to control my life. I will no longer give my power to something that has already passed. I choose my peace." And that choice, that sacred choice, transforms everything. Think of the people who hurt you, the situations that wounded, the words that cut deep. For how long have you allowed those memories to occupy space within you? For how long have you offered your present as an altar for past sacrifices? Every time you relive a hurt, you feed it. Every time you repeat a story of injustice, you keep it alive inside you. And the person who suffers most from this is not the one who hurt you. It's you. I release all resentment. I choose peace instead of being right. Say this with me now. Feel what it's like to pronounce these words. Notice if resistance is arising. It's natural. The ego likes to be right. The ego likes to keep alive the stories where we are the victim. But you are not your ego. You are so much bigger than that. Let me tell you something about energy. Everything is energy. Your thoughts are energy. Your emotions are energy. The memories you hold are energy. And energy always follows attention. Where you place your attention, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your life grows. If you are constantly returning to the past with your attention, if you are always remembering who hurt you, what you lost, how it should have been different, all your vital energy is flowing backwards. And you cannot grow backwards, my dear. You cannot flourish looking at what has already died. Forgiveness is like turning your face toward the sun. You may have spent years looking at the shadow, but the moment you decide to turn, the light is there. It always was. Waiting for you to make that simple choice, to look forward. Imagine with me now. Close your eyes if you can, or simply allow your imagination to awaken. See yourself standing before a river. It's a wide river with clear waters and gentle currents. On the other side of that river is the life you desire, the version of you that is free, light, at peace, the version that truly smiles, that sleeps peacefully, that wakes with hope in the heart. And in your hands, you hold stones. Many stones. Each one represents something you have not yet forgiven. A person, a situation, a choice you made, words that were said, opportunities you lost, versions of yourself you abandoned. To cross that river, you need to release the stones. You cannot swim carrying that weight. You need to open your hands and let them sink into the water, dissolving, returning to the earth from which they came. Open your hands now. Really open them. Feel the physical gesture of letting go. And as you do this, say, I let go, I forgive, I move forward. I know it can be difficult. I know that part of you may be saying, but you don't understand what they did to me. You don't know how much it hurt. How can I just forgive? I hear you, my dear, and I validate your pain. It is real. It was legitimate. You had every right to feel what you felt. Your tears were just. Your anger was understandable. Your sadness was valid. But now I ask you with all gentleness, for how much longer do you want to feel this? For how much longer do you want to give the past power over your present? How much of your future life are you willing to sacrifice to keep alive a pain that has already happened? Forgiving does not mean that what happened was right. It means you are ready to free yourself from the prison of that story. And sometimes, many times, the most difficult person to forgive is yourself. You judge yourself for the choices you made, for the times you weren't strong enough, for the opportunities you let pass, for the words you said or didn't say, for the relationships you stayed in or left, for not having known then what you know now. But my dear, how could you have known? How could you have acted differently with the consciousness you had in that moment? You were doing the best you could with the tools you possessed. You were trying to survive, trying to protect yourself, trying to find love, security, belonging in the only way you knew. And now you know more. Now you have grown. Now you can choose differently. But that doesn't mean your past choices were wrong. They were part of the path that brought you here. To this exact moment where you are ready to free yourself. I forgive myself completely. I did the best I could, and that is enough. Place your hand on your heart now. Feel the warmth of your palm over your chest, and speak to yourself as you would speak to a small child who is learning to walk and stumbles. It's okay. You're learning. I love you. I'm here. When you forgive yourself, when you release others, when you let the past rest where it belongs, in the past, something miraculous happens. You create space, space within you, space in your heart, space in your energy, space in your life, and nature abhors a vacuum. When you create space through forgiveness, that space begins to naturally fill with light, with love, with new possibilities, with subtle miracles that couldn't reach you before because you were too busy holding on to the old. Have you noticed how difficult it is to hold something new when your hands are full? You need to let go first. You need to empty in order to receive. Forgiveness is that sacred emptying. It's the deep cleaning of the soul's house. It's opening the windows that have been closed for years and letting fresh air enter. It's turning on the lights in the dark rooms. It's removing the old and broken furniture you kept just in case you needed it someday. And when you do that cleaning, when you truly forgive, you discover something extraordinary. There is so much more space inside you than you imagined. There is a lightness you didn't remember was possible to feel. There is a peace that doesn't depend on anything external. I am free, I am light, I am peace. There is immense power in the now. This moment, this exact instant as you read or hear these words, is the only place where transformation can happen. The past is gone. The future doesn't yet exist. But now you have power. Now you can choose. And the choice of forgiveness is always a choice of the present. You cannot forgive yesterday. You cannot forgive tomorrow. You can only forgive now. So now, in this moment, I invite you to do a simple but profoundly transformative practice. Think of someone you need to forgive. It can be someone who hurt you deeply or someone who simply disappointed you. It can be someone who is still in your life or someone who is gone. Visualize that person before you. It doesn't need to be perfect, just a sense of their presence. And then, looking into that person's eyes in your imagination, say mentally or aloud, I forgive you. I release you. I release myself. We are both free now. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to wait for the anger to completely disappear. Just make the gesture, speak the words, plant the seed. The rest happens on its own, gently, in perfect time. And if the person you most need to forgive is yourself, look at your own reflection. even if only in your imagination, and say, I forgive you. You did the best you could. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of beginning again. Let the tears come if they want to. Tears are liberation. They are the emotional residue of the past leaving your body. They are sacred, welcome, necessary. Do you know what the difference is between holding a grudge and forgiving? The difference is not in what happened to you. The difference is in who you choose to be in response to what happened. When you hold a grudge, you become a prisoner of the person who hurt you. You carry them with you wherever you go. They occupy space in your thoughts. They influence your decisions. They color your worldview. You are not free. You are chained. But when you forgive, truly forgive, you cut those chains. You are no longer defined by what was done to you. You define yourself by the choice you make now, the choice of freedom, of peace, of love. And that doesn't mean you need to trust again someone who betrayed you. It doesn't mean you need to keep toxic people in your life. It doesn't mean you cannot have healthy boundaries. Forgiveness is not lack of discernment. Forgiveness is not placing yourself again in situations that hurt you. Forgiveness is internal liberation. It's emotional peace. It's refusing to give the past power over your present. You can forgive someone and still choose not to have them in your life. You can forgive and still remember the lessons. You can forgive and still honor your wounds by taking better care of yourself from here forward. I forgive, but I also choose to honor myself. I release, but I also protect myself with love. There is something about gratitude I need to share with you. Gratitude and resentment cannot occupy the same space. They are like water and oil, light and darkness. When you bring gratitude to your heart, resentment must withdraw. So try this with me now. As you allow yourself to let go, as you practice forgiveness, bring also gratitude. Gratitude for the strength you developed through difficulties. Gratitude for the wisdom that was born from pain. Gratitude for being alive, for being able to feel, for having the capacity to transform. Be grateful for the lessons, even though the teachers were harsh. Be grateful for the resilience you discovered in yourself. Be grateful for being here now, ready to begin again. And as you give thanks, feel how your heart expands, how a door opens, how something shifts in the quality of your energy. Gratitude is magnetic. It attracts more of what you can be grateful for. It transforms what you have into enough. It transforms who you are into worthy. I am grateful for everything that brought me here. I am grateful for my capacity to forgive and begin again. Perhaps you're wondering, but what if I forgive and nothing changes? What if I let go and still feel empty? What if I try and fail? My dear, let me tell you something important. Forgiveness is not a single event. It's a practice. It's a choice you may need to make repeatedly. Not because you're failing, but because you're learning. Because you're deconstructing patterns of a lifetime. Because you're rewriting stories you told yourself for decades. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle. You don't need to forgive perfectly. You only need to be willing. Willingness is enough. Intention is enough. The gesture is enough. And whenever you feel resentment returning, because sometimes it returns like waves in the ocean, simply come back to the practice. Come back to the breath. Come back to the affirmations. Come back to the conscious choice of peace over being right, of freedom over victimization, of future over past. You are not alone in this journey. There is a greater force that holds you. You can call it universe, God, divine energy, universal love. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that you are not doing this only with your willpower. You are being supported. You are being guided. You are being loved by something infinitely greater than you can comprehend. Close your eyes for a moment and feel that. Feel that you are being held by invisible arms, that there is a golden light above you, bathing you, protecting you, healing you, that you can relax because you don't need to do everything alone. Breathe into that sense of support, of belonging, of safety. You belong to the universe. You are a child of life. You are loved exactly as you are. If you have a notebook or a piece of paper nearby, I would like to invite you to a small writing practice. It's not mandatory, but it can be deeply liberating. Write at the top of the page, "I am ready to forgive," and then let your hand write, without filters, without judgment. Just let the words flow. Who do you need to forgive? What do you need to release? What stories do you need to let go? Write everything. It doesn't need to make sense. It doesn't need to be beautiful. It only needs to be true. And when you're finished, if you feel it's the right moment, you can even burn that paper, safely, carefully, as a symbolic ritual of release. Or you can simply tear it into small pieces and throw it away. The physical gesture of letting go can help the heart understand that you are serious. You are seriously committed to your freedom, to your peace, to your future. There is a very common belief that needs to be deconstructed, the idea that it's too late, that you should have forgiven years ago, that you've already wasted too much time trapped in the past, and now it's too late to change. That is not true. It is never too late to free yourself. It is never too late to choose peace. It is never too late to begin again. It doesn't matter how many years you spent holding grudges. It doesn't matter how long you were trapped in old patterns. The moment you decide to change, that moment is always the perfect moment. Your life is not defined by what you did or didn't do until now. Your life is being defined by what you choose now. And now, you are choosing forgiveness. You are choosing freedom. You are choosing yourself. It is never too late for me. Now is the perfect moment to begin again. As you walk this forgiveness journey, you may notice subtle changes. Perhaps you sleep better. Perhaps your shoulders relax a little. Perhaps you notice there's more space between one thought and another. Perhaps you surprise yourself smiling for no apparent reason. These are the subtle miracles of forgiveness. They are not fireworks. They are not dramatic overnight transformations. They are small awakenings, small releases, small deaths of the old and small births of the new. Celebrate each of those moments. Every time you choose not to enter an old story. Every time you feel resentment rising and consciously decide not to feed it. Every time you look at someone who hurt you and feel neutrality instead of acute pain. These are victories. These are transformations. These are proof that you are changing from the inside out. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. The more you choose forgiveness, the easier it is to choose again. You are creating new neural pathways, new emotional patterns, a new identity based on freedom and not on imprisonment. I want to remind you of something essential. You are not your wounds. You are not your grudges. You are not your story of pain. Those things happened to you, but they are not you. You are the consciousness that observes. You are the spirit that remains intact even when everything around collapses. You are the light that no darkness can extinguish. And from the place of that light, of that consciousness, of that pure essence, it is easy to forgive. Because you can see that everyone is doing the best they can with the consciousness they have. You can see that pain generates pain, and that when someone hurts you, it's because they themselves are wounded. That doesn't justify the behavior, but it explains it. And understanding brings compassion. And compassion makes forgiveness possible. You can see the people who hurt you not as monsters, but as imperfect human beings, wounded, trying to survive in the best way they know. And from that perspective, from the perspective of your highest essence, you can let go. Not for them, for you. Because you deserve to live free. You deserve to live in peace. You deserve to carry lightness instead of weight. Before we finish, I want to give you one last affirmation. An affirmation you can carry with you, repeat whenever you need, use as an anchor in moments when the past tries to pull you back. Breathe deeply, place your hand on your heart, and say with me, with all the conviction you can gather, I am free from the past. I forgive completely. I choose peace. I am worthy of beginning again. I allow myself to fly. Repeat this as many times as you feel you need. Let these words become part of you. Let them replace the old stories you used to tell. My dear, you have reached the end of this journey today, but the beginning of a new journey for you. A journey of freedom, of lightness, of infinite possibilities. The forgiveness you practice today is a seed planted. It will grow. It will flourish. It will transform the entire landscape of your inner life. Be patient with this process. Be gentle with yourself. And remember, you are not doing this perfectly. You are doing this courageously. And courage is enough. The entire universe is on your side. All of life is conspiring in your favor. You are being guided, protected, loved, always. And in this morning, in this new beginning, you are finally ready to release what no longer serves and embrace what is coming. You are ready to fly. And my dear, you were always free. You only needed to remember. Go in peace. Go in love. Go in freedom. Forgiveness has already begun. Healing is already happening. And you are being reborn. Welcome to your new life.